What is going on, everybody? Bobby Fi, Eric Sheets-Haber. We're going to be talking through this NBA slate. 7 games on DraftKings, 9 games on FanDuel. Did I get that right? I think I did. It's a little bit of a different slate on both sites, and we've obviously had some injury information. There's no Bradley Beal, and I'm adjusting accordingly. So just rerunning my builds now. And Sheets, I guess overall, like, have you feel up to date on it?
Yeah, I had a couple of things. Well, I'm still. I don't know if are we still waiting for the Phoenix stuff to update. I'm not sure. I did projections just a couple of minutes ago. I don't know if there's anything on Phoenix I need to do.
I feel like it's actually updated. Well, definitely updated Tyus Jones because he got a huge boost, and Grayson Allen got a huge boost. I personally am just making sure to play one of Durant or Booker a lot, mostly Durant. But their numbers, they're priced a little bit as if Beal was out too because he's been out. You know what I mean? So they're probably 800 more than they would be if normally Beal was in. So
right.
And they're playing against a team that has 9 bodies as of right now that I know of, which is Brooklyn.
That you know of.
Well, because with Brooklyn, I'm just going to see if they release something where anybody else pops in. But right now, they've only got 9 guys, and even in a game where they might get crushed, they're playing at home. It's really hard not to get to a good amount of that for me personally. That first game.
Well, there was a couple of questions I wanted to ask you about a couple of guys that were showing up. First of all, I mean, I haven't looked yet, but is Reese Beekman showing up for you?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's just the Brooklyn thing. It's just they don't have enough bodies, so he's looking like, and he's 3K. He played, I believe, last time they had this few. I think he played like 21. Oh no, he didn't even have this few. Played like 21 minutes. I think 20 some odd minutes is right, and he's 3K, so kind of hard not to have like a little bit of interest. But kind of all of them look pretty good, and I think Clowney's maybe my favorite, but he's also got a wide range of outcomes. But Day'Ron Sharpe is also too cheap, so I'm getting a lot from that game.
Yeah, and I'm going to just do the same thing I always do. I'm going to upload my projections to start building. But there was another random guy I wanted to ask you about, specifically to FanDuel. There was one guy getting a really weird projection some places, but not others, and a big ownership projection. I don't know if you look too much at FanDuel, but are you getting a big thing on Amir Coffey?
So I understand there's a lot of guys out for the Clippers, and it's tricky because Harden is one of the best plays on the slate, and that's the last game, and he's questionable. I don't think they're going to just sacrifice the game. I have Amir Coffey at Saberson's got him a little bit lower at like 5x, and I think that you've got him around. No, you're pretty close actually.
Yeah.
And I did end up getting a decent amount of him, but I don't know that that's going to hold up. And as usual, like once you adjust along the way, like I'd rather play Terrence Mann than him if it was just them straight up.
Okay.
And I think Kevin Porter Jr. is really the answer between all of those guys. And by the way, the sneaky Bones Highland that Saberson doesn't even want to give me on FanDuel, I'm going to take that shot just because it's what if Harden is out and there's no real adjusting to be done, and maybe we take a little bit of the Harden there. That's what I would say. I'm sorry, a little bit of the Porter.
I think you're right with respect to Phoenix. Probably want to take one of those two guys at least.
Yeah.
Booker or Durant.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. And the only problem is that there is definitely potential blowout for this game. But on DraftKings, Tyus Jones is too cheap. So if you didn't want to play either of those guys at an expensive price because of that blowout potential, Tyus Jones is 4,300, which is just way too cheap for this situation. I like Nick Richards, by the way, just getting in the mix for them. So I'm overweight, kind of overweight basically everybody on their team at the moment. But I think that they're probably going to be a little bit more owned than they're being projected for, is my guess.
And what are you doing with I see Grayson Allen's popping. We don't have any confirmation on Karis LeVert yet, right?
No confirmation on Karis LeVert that I've seen anyway, not in the last little bit. I'm just double checking in case that anything. Yeah, I mean they'd be popping through the roof. I think the rest of the guys, but yeah, I still have a good amount of LeVert, but I don't think you have to. Like I felt like he's not. I took him off my core plays, for example. I thought he was a core play. Now I think there's at least enough of a bust back. Now the problem with him, like he might put up 40 and you absolutely need him, so I don't want to avoid it. But maybe the 25 to 35% range instead of like 90. And I did get it wrong, but there's only 6 games on DraftKings because I forgot the other game was canceled.
Are you making anything out of like Clay and Najee Marshall being out for Dallas?
Yeah, Olivier Max Prosper. I'm getting to a good amount of Gafford, and Prosper is one that he sometimes duds out, and there's no minutes limit on Grimes, which makes him very playable. But I think that it's probably worth it just to have some Kyrie. That's probably the most logical thing we could do in this situation. It's just a little bit tricky because we've had so many guys out for Dallas, and they're still going to play enough bodies. But I think that Olivier Max Prosper is probably the one who projects the best per dollar. But you definitely don't have to. He's just minimum cost, and we don't have starting lineups or anything yet. But it's definitely possible that he does end up starting. And even if he doesn't start, he's still totally in play.
I have to say that I know the Celtics are like great and everything like that, but them having looks like a double-digit spread on the road against the Clippers makes me think that Harden might not play.
No, they already sat Kawhi, Norman Powell, and already. They've already set their 3 of their 4 best players basically.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Well, it's actually maybe it's 3 out of 5. But you know what's interesting about that game on the FanDuel side is I think that, again, like I keep talking about this guy and he just keeps crushing. Oh no, we don't even have him. We have no Zubac either. Oh, so the other one that's weird is that what do we do with Mo Bamba is another thing you run into on FanDuel because he's actually protected okay, but we know how that goes. You know what I mean? Like he may be projected to start and he might play like 5 minutes. He might, and then it might be Kai Jones starting, which I guess is just an easy pivot over. But as of right now, you don't need to play a big against Boston because you're playing against Porzingis. So you want a guy who goes out on the court. So maybe like Batum ends up starting tonight. Maybe they go really small and use Derrick Jones Jr. at the 5. So I actually am I'm surprised Bamba's with his projection is not going to be more owned, but I get it because I do think that's a high risk, high volatile situation against the Celtics.
Without looking, do you have any idea whatever happened to Hassan Whiteside?
I think he's playing overseas.
He is, okay.
From the last time I remember, I think he was, and probably getting like 500 rebounds a game.
Yeah.
Remember when Dwight Howard left and he had a game where he had like in China where he had like 70 and like 40 or something weird.
Really?
It was like some absurd number. I was just like, Jesus, what is going on over there? It may have even been 50 rebounds. It was like an absurd number. And look, I like that we do these shows. I know you've got your dinner thing tonight, so I kind of like the idea of stopping a little early sometimes because as great as look, what an incredible thing. Sheets built that lineup last night on air, which is freaking awesome. But I also want to, we have some great offers here and everything like that, and I really want people to check out the site. And I think that cutting off like a little bit before the final lock also helps me like hand build the high buy-ins, which I like. But I did want people to be encouraged, and maybe you don't do it now if you want to try the ultimate. But I would say if you're playing football this weekend, test out the ultimate. Play with some of Sheets and Goldie's projections. It's $10.99 for a 3-day trial. And honestly, that's what I did last week. People keep saying, "What did I hand adjusted? I used their your guys' projections. I averaged them out, and it's a totally different offering than you're going to find, with just the regular Saberson package, which is also awesome. But it's just a really cool thing. So I hope everybody gets that. Yes, Danny. Yeah, so Danny's asking about that package real quick, and yeah, it's $11 for a 3-day trial, and that's for the ultimate package. That's for the $2.99 a month package. So it's a pretty cool thing to check out. And if you're going to do it, as much as I'd love everybody to check it out now because I think it's really worth it, I think the best time to do it, since we're almost at Friday, would be to do it Friday so you could play NFL on Sunday if that is what you're doing. If you're just playing basketball and golf and everything, I would encourage you still to check it out now then. Just wanted to throw that out there real quick.
How much are you getting of Nick Smith after all that?
A good amount. I not quite as much as I was earlier. Currently at 47%, but I think that number could easily be higher. Just for what it's worth. I still have him as a core guy, and I have 35% of LeVert, and I'm okay with that. I still love the idea of just stacking up that Charlotte Memphis game with this early stuff with some combination of Phoenix, Brooklyn, and Detroit and Atlanta. I just think that just the hope of that game staying close in Memphis, which is, again, it's a hope. Memphis beats the hell out of a lot of teams. That's why these guys only play like 30 minutes. But if it does, you're gonna have fire emojis on like like 9 guys.
We have to look at keep an eye on Jalen with an E Williams.
Yeah. Jalen with an E Williams is still questionable.
Yeah.
And it's impossible to judge that spread because I think even without him, they'd be favored by just as much. And earlier when we were looking for value, I thought that was a great place to go for value. There's plenty of value right now. I mean, yeah, it's speculative, but you've got Nick Smith at 3,200. You've got Levert if he's in there at 4. You've got Olivia Maxence Prosper at 6.2x at 3K. Tyus Jones 4,300. He's projected over 6x. You got the Beekman who's projected around 6x. So there's just a lot of other guys you could use for value today. And I think that for me, what I'm looking at here is I want to see what I'm doing with my spend ups. And for everybody who's a site member, I will post all my exposures here. Right now, I have way too much of Shea. I'm actually flirting with the idea of fading him. Just like entirely, just putting an X out button on him. I just think that they aren't going to need it. Now, without it, that all changes, though, if Jalen Williams is out, because if Jalen Williams is out, he's just going to get there anyway. But if Jalen Williams is in, it doesn't have to be him. And they probably are going to win that game with, their eyes closed. OKC doesn't mess around. They beat the hell out of the teams they're supposed to beat the hell out of. And that was the other thing I want to do. I want to like X out guys like, well, not X out. Okay, I'll put a maximum of like 5% on a guy like Lou Dort who's projecting decently. I don't really need that. I just feel like there's other spots.
I'll tell you guys who I don't really want to have such exposure to, which I am right now, is the Quentin Grimes.
That's the thing with the Dallas, though. Somebody's going to get there, so I think that's why I get it, though.
Yeah, but he's not really the get guy, I don't think.
But if he plays like 32 minutes, that's probably just enough alone at his price.
What's his price? He like 4K?
Grimes is, I think,
4,800. It's not like he's 3K. I mean, like
you're right. It's 4,800. It's not. I only have 12% of him at the moment, so I'm not as worried about that.
I got a lot. I got a lot of him and a lot of Shea. These are actually 2 very legitimate decisions I have to make.
Yeah, and Shea, I don't know what you can do until we know about Jalen Williams, because if Jalen Williams is out, it's going to be really hard to argue against playing Shea, even in a blowout game, because he's going to get 50 in his sleep, I think. I really don't see how he does it.
And the Grimes thing, you have to do right away. I mean, that's the first game.
That's the first game. Yeah, I don't have as much of it, but I understand the concern for sure. You'd think though, like with his minutes being not capped, that they'd want him out there to guard Edwards as much as possible. Because they're missing a lot of guys here. Like, this is a really a banged up team. It's just going to be a matter of if they can score, and if they can score, he'll stay on the court. If they can't, you might see more Dinwiddie and different types of lineups from them. But I mean, the pivot is 1,800 cheaper. You could just play Prosper as an interesting one, and I just think Grimes is going to play more than 29 minutes if that game's close, and I'm still thinking the game is likely to stay close-ish. Yeah. That's the only thing I'm struggling with. But right now, to have Shea as my highest owned spend up doesn't feel good to me. I don't like that.
I'd rather have like Durant, right? I mean, like
I'd rather Durant or LaMelo or Cade Cunningham or Trae Young
or Morant Morant.
Morant at a cheaper price, absolutely. He's the second highest owned for me. But I just think that there's just so much upside for the other ones. All right, let's see. I'm just taking a quick look and seeing if anything else is happening. Nope. All right, let's see. Grayson without Beal, too cute. No, not at all, Jimmy. I think Grayson is totally legitimately in play. Personally, I only have like 12% of him, but it's definitely not too cute. It totally makes logical sense. What was the other question? Is that an extension of Sheets' page that shows the player exposed? Is there what?
This.
Oh, right? Yeah. You just look at view exposure, and that's what it pops up.
Yeah, I mean, like when you're here on DraftKings, like under the lineup page, hit view exposure. And that's it.
Yeah. And then
that's going to change in probably about 5 minutes.
Yeah. Danny, I'll answer Sheets' question for him because he was asking about how do you get that much money in your FanDuel account. The answer is you win tournaments. And Sheets won one last night too. So that's how you get that much in there. It's not cash games, but it is tournaments.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, and Dell, yeah, thank you, guys. Reminder: please hit the like button. We like doing these for free. We want to do them. We just appreciate all we're asking is that like button. But I do want to just again re-emphasize that it's really good to use to check out this trial. I think it's really worth it. All right. That's it's funny, MC, about the view exposures. It didn't used to exist, and then when it existed, it didn't exist for any ongoing games. Now you can see your exposure for every game, and you learn that the hard way when you play Max Homa in golf. So I kind of biffed that one up a little bit. I thought maybe he'd bounce back after he made that eagle, but not to be, I guess.
No, Aberg's just running away, I guess, right?
But he's on the easier course, and there's some guys who are on the tougher course who are actually making a run. This guy, Danny Walker, is 7 under on the much harder course. He's like there's only 2 guys in the top 15 of.
Oh, we loved him. Didn't we have 40% of Danny Walker this week?
Somehow I missed the Danny Walker memo.
I couldn't quite get up to 40% of him.
I didn't get it.
But I promise you this, is if he wins the tournament, you're going to see Twitter all talking about how they all had him.
Yeah, they all had him, and they just missed on somebody else missed the cut by 1 because some fluky bug hit the ball on the way to the hole from a 3-foot putt or something.
Yes, that's right.
But yeah, they were all over Danny Walker.
Yeah.
But at least I did. At least my winner, my highest owned player is Oberg, but it's not going to help me any because he's everyone's highest owned player.
We'll see.
Yeah. And I'm okay with getting laughed at for the Homa thing. There's going to be a time where I win a tournament with Max Homa, and people are going to think I was.
He's going to be like 6,800 one day.
Remember, I won that one with I won. It wasn't a huge one. It was like I think it was like 30K or something like that. It was like a single entry. But I won with like a 0.2% owned Matt Wolf because he was all over the place back in the Matt Wolf days. And then he literally would shoot 10 over in the first 2 rounds, or he would be like the leader. and it works, but. I'm a little disappointed in Homa, but I'll bet you anything. Homa tomorrow shoots 6 or 7 under. I really would bet that he shoots a great number. Probably still won't get there.
Today at?
He's +5 right now.
Ooh. That's harsh.
It's pretty harsh. Yeah, they've got him at 5% to make the cut. I think that's probably about right. After he made the eagle, he got it shot up to 20% to make the cut, and then was not to be.
He has no chance to make +5.
Yeah, so they're thinking the cut will be around 2 or 3, so he'd have to shoot 7 or 8 under, and he did play on the harder course, which again.
Oh, okay, that's all right. Okay.
At least it's not likely, but it's not out of the realm of possibility. He's currently the 4th worst golfer in the tournament at the moment, and even guys who didn't play, I feel like they're a lot better than he was.
But he's not a quitter though, so
he's a fighter, and he's just. I have a little bias with him because he's an LA guy. He's a great guy, and he really was. He made me a lot of money for golf over the years, but he's really had a bad last full on calendar year. Yeah, he's been struggling. It happens in golf a lot. Guys just lose their game because MC's asking about that, and it's just what happens.
Everybody, the hipster JJ Spawn is punishing people, huh?
What did he do?
+1.
Oh, I thought he was 3 under through the first 6 holes or something.
+1 for him. I don't know what course he was on, but
I think he was on the easier one, unfortunately.
Ooh, that's not good at all.
Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be a wild one. It's gonna be. Obviously Oberg will probably be there at the end, and it's gonna be whoever spent that. Probably gonna be Oberg and not Hideki, and then whoever spent down on everybody else with randomness and left money on the table or something, yeah, that would be probably what ends up happening.
Wow, I might have the worst lineup in the signature hole of the entire slate of the entire. Let me just see what I am here. No, there's a couple of people below me, but not much. I'm in 938th place right there.
How many are in there? 1,000?
I think 800.
Somehow you're worse than the worst one.
Yeah, I have my top guy is Sunjam at -3, and then I have Johnny Vegas at -2, then Grayson at -1, Spawn at +1. Fishburne at +3, and Matt Wallace at +5. So I will not be winning, I don't believe.
Yeah. Matt Wallace is, for anybody who plays DFS, Matt Wallace is the range of outcome guys. He'll win a tournament and then literally be the worst player at the other tournament, the next tournament.
And as I like to say, I know the times that he wins the tournament when I don't play him.
Yeah, right. I mean, and the great thing is that when he wins, he's usually like 0.5% owned because of that. So
that is true.
it's like the advantage of it. All right, I'm just rerunning my thing here because we haven't.
I also like to say that I've seen this guy play like a bunch of times because it was at UVA. Reese Beekman, if he ends up too chalky, I think that's a mistake.
Okay, that's fair. It's always hard to isn't it hard to judge the UVA players though because they don't really let them do anything offensively in college.
That is true. That's
it's always a little weird. Like I never know how good somebody is, like Ty Jerome or whatever.
That's definitely fair enough.
And like I feel like they're all defenders. I mean, because you got Dunn too. Was there from there?
Yeah.
So it's tricky. But I mean, they got to score sometime. I remember when they went to the Final Four, like they were winning games in the tournament, like 43.
Those are crazy games.
But that's not. It's like in the 80s that actually made like it happened. But like today, for that to happen, it's like almost impossible. And they were doing it in modern era, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Even when I go back to my Bruins when they won, that was my favorite, my first like love of a title other than the Dodgers.
That was the Tyus Edney year.
That was the Tyus Edney year, and then the next year we lost to Princeton in the first round with probably a better team. Even
that was amazing. That was just amazing.
And it was 43-41. That was the final score.
That was awesome.
Yeah,
really awesome. And then Tyus Edney. Was that against Jason Kidd? Maybe.
No, the Tyus Edney one was against Missouri. I don't think
Jason Kidd was in that season though. I don't remember that.
Yeah, Kid for Cal. I think they made the final 8 the year before. I don't know where they ended up that year. That year I remembered everything because I watched the UCLA tournament video like when I was 13, like 5,000 times. So I'm pretty good with the team.
He was in the NBA for a while, right?
Yeah, he had some bad injuries. And he was he's undersized, but he had some bad injuries. It's kind of sad. Like
Memphis or something like that, or
and then Ed O'Bannon,
O'Bannon.
Ed O'Bannon won Player of the Year. Well, he split it. He won 1-1, and Josh Smith won the other. But yeah, those were my fun UCLA teams back in the day. There's still one guy who played with them who I was convinced would be the best player, like in NBA.
Al-Hamute or whatever that game.
No, but he played for Cal too. Like he was awesome. Oh no, Mbah Moute.
No, I mean the recent guy for UCLA.
The recent one is Mbah Moute. Yeah, but I just thought he was a good defender. He didn't really try to do anything. But it's weird, you know. And then when Drew Holiday was at UCLA, everybody was talking about, and people were like, "Why is everybody think this guy's so great? He averages 9 points and whatever." And I was like, "Because he's like the best defender in the country, and all he does is play perfect basketball. He does everything the right way." And you just knew he was going to be a stud.
It was Ed and Charles O'Bannon, right?
Ed and Charles, yeah, that was Charles' freshman year and Ed senior. And then we had the big, what's his name? Oh my God, if I forget players from that team, you shoot me in the face. Toby Bailey was the off the bench.
Toby Bailey, that was one ugly dude.
Yeah, his kid is going to be a stud.
Apparently. Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, all these guys. It's such a huge advantage in basketball more than any other sport. If your dad plays, because not only are you around it all the time, you're probably really tall.
And you get access to great AAU teams to play on and all this other stuff.
Yeah. But my little cousin, who's what is he? He's 11, but he's playing in the 12-year-old group, and he plays in the national teams and everything now. He's just, dude, this kid is tiny, and he's just hitting bombs every single day now.
Oh, really?
His personal coach they hired a coach for him, and it's I don't know. Some people might remember Delman Young from the major leagues. He was like the number 1 overall pick when he played, and I think he had a couple 30 home run years. I think for Detroit, I think he did. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I know he had some big years. But this kid, I just every day I get a message and another video of him hitting a opposite field home run that's 50 feet past the fence. It's how does he even get the power for it?
Oh, baseball, you meant?
Yeah, he's a baller. He's a really good baseball player.
So I just did whatever, and again, if anybody cares, I will put the updated ownership in a second. All right, where are you? Come on. Where's your goddamn? Oh, there's my file. That's good. Let me just do the FanDuel 1-2. Dinner's gonna be ready in 5 minutes.
Okay.
And then
while you're doing that, I'm just gonna run through my current exposures. Nick Smith is my highest owned player at 55%. After him comes Mark Williams, my favorite guy. Then Tyus, then Tyrese Martin from Brooklyn. Then Shea, but I'm going to do something about that. And then Kevin Durant, then John Morant.
Tyrese Martin is one of your highest owned?
He's 34. I have him at 34% right now.
Okay.
Not like an outrageous number, but just, you know. I'm playing it because it's the $5. I'm playing the 150 today. I shouldn't even say stuff like that at this moment, but I still have to.
Yeah.
But I'm not max entering the $15 NBA stuff until I actually start playing a little bit better.
Yeah.
But I did play 2 in the 777 today, so that's something.
There you go. Swish, right?
Yeah, the swish. All right, let's see. And then on FanDuel, I'm just gonna finish my current.
I wonder if I get that on your coffee business going.
At least you can play the delay game with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's the one thing I really like about it. At FanDuel, currently, James Harden is my highest owned player, and he's questionable. So,
right. But you could. Is Curry active?
Steph? Yeah. But you might not find out till after that game starts.
Oh, right, because that's 10 o'clock and the other one's 10:30, right?
Yeah.
You could get to, instead of Harden, you could play almost Tatum, right?
Well, I'm playing Kevin Porter Jr. so much, and I don't mind playing him with Harden. So I can always like pivot to somebody on Boston and just leave a tiny bit on the table. I mean, I guess that the best thing would be would be Jaylen Brown is the closest in pricing. And I'm not really getting to much of them right now, though.
I did Min Uniques 3, just, on both sites. Seems like I have a decent amount of Lonzo Ball. All right, so final exposures for the 7:30, because I don't think I'll be back in time to change anything. Looks like right now, 53% Nick Smith Jr. Oh, much a little less Shea, 33%. So I'll deal with that. Oh, a good amount of Lonzo, 35%.
Love it.
Gafford.
Yeah, I like Gafford too.
Ooh, Miles Bridges. Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, that game is. I mean, you put Charlotte in against the team that plays the fastest in the NBA by a lot. Kind of hard not to have interest and just hope it stays close.
All right, I'm gonna bail out. I will catch you tomorrow.
All right, sounds good, man. Have a good night. Good luck, guys. I'm gonna stick around for a minute and just talk my FanDuel, just updating my FanDuel exposures because I don't feel that I like where I was. Now it's Tyrese Martin is my highest owned FanDuel player. Kevin Porter Jr., Keon Johnson, LaMelo, Harden, Clowney, Mark Williams. Wow, how did I get so much Mark Williams on FanDuel? That's interesting. At 8K, ooh, they love my Mark Williams. Now maybe I have to rethink this one. Keon Johnson's another one I'm getting into a bunch of, even though he killed me when they had 8 guys that day. But anyway, guys, give it a like. I got to get going so I can go update my exposures for the site members, and you'll see exactly what I'm doing with everything, everybody. So good luck to y'all tonight. Let's have a big win.